2022 KY Ready Corps training on using OnCorps for data collection and reporting. In this presentation, we will go over what data collection is, the KY Ready Corps performance measures, and how and when to collect data while serving. So what is data collection? Data is an activity all AmeriCorps members engage in to help measure the KY Ready Corps program performance required by AmeriCorps. We report on data as part of our program accountability. Tracking certain kinds of data can improve service quality and program outcomes. All AmeriCorps members engage in data collecting in all AmeriCorps programs across the country. It is important to understand that data collection is different with every KY Ready Corps member and with every service site because our members have varieties of activities and we have a wide array of service sites. For that reason, data collection requires planning between the member and the site supervisor. It may also require assistance of KY Ready Corps staff to identify ways and when and where to collect data. Data is collected and recorded by members on an ongoing basis, daily, weekly, depending on your site activities. Members report on the data collected once per month by the 5th of the month on data collected the previous month. So for example, by July 5th, you will report on data you gathered in June. KY Ready Corps has two performance measures, or PMs. Members track the number of individuals that directly receive member-supported services in disaster or emergency preparedness. This is called an output. Members also track the number of individuals who are vulnerable to disasters, who have increased awareness due to member preparedness activities and protective actions. This is called an outcome. In order to figure out what kind of data you need to collect for your output, the first performance measure, you need to identify your key activities that are direct service, when you are directly helping individuals. You can also look at your member work plan to find events and activities that are direct service. This performance measure requires that you document and count the number of individuals that you actively help. Examples could be delivering food to food banks, training or otherwise interacting with or managing volunteers, surveying senior citizens on their preparedness for emergencies and disasters. Revisit slide 5 for the exact definition of that first performance measure. So what if preparedness activities are not part of your member position description or other activities at your service site? Respond to the survey that KY Ready staff will send to all members shortly. Based on your responses, KY Ready staff will either help you and your site supervisor identify ways you can share preparedness materials that we will provide you, including special events and community outreach activities. Remember, KY Ready staff will provide you with preparedness education materials. You simply need to distribute them and keep track of how many individuals receive those materials and report on them as monthly data. So how do you track members of individuals that you have helped? You need to count. Use things like sign-in sheets, spreadsheets, checklists, registrations, referral logs, client tracking databases, phone call records, tallies or totals as in deliveries or donations. KY Ready Corps staff will also provide you with some generic forms and other kinds of documents that you can use for data collection. When it comes to measuring outcomes, and note that not all members will have opportunities to educate on preparedness via presentations or workshops. This requires careful pre-planning. Again, identify your key activities that have to do with education or sharing information. Examples include delivering preparedness educational materials in person or via a video conference, training staff or volunteers on preparedness activities or education, posting about preparedness on social media, and tracking shares and views. If necessary, refer back to slide 5 for the actual definition of our second performance measure. So how do I track the extent to which individuals become educated because of your service activities? This is where the pre-planning comes in. You can measure education by administering pre- and post tests, post or distribute surveys that rate knowledge before and after, and even a show of hands indicating increased knowledge at the end of a presentation can help with quantifying increased awareness. KY Ready Course staff will prepare some of these documents for your use. There are reporting forms within OnCorps you will be using to record the performance measure data that you collect, but you need to prepare or use a generic tracking tool that KY Ready staff will provide to easily record your counts. Consider using Google Sheets in our G Suite account, Excel spreadsheets, and other ways of documenting information. When you track an event for data collection and reporting, please record a title for the event, the date of the event, the time of the event, the location of the event, number of people you've helped or educated, including attendees during educational events, and a short description of the event or activity. In addition to evaluating your member position description and your work plan for ideas about data collection, do not hesitate to have a conversation with your site supervisor to discuss events and activities where you can collect data on outputs and/or outcomes. Please note your service site might also track information for their program performance, so be sure to ask and not duplicate your efforts, provided that the site information can be shared. There might be confidentiality issues. Remember to plan ahead for events where you can do preparedness education. Get events on your calendar. Make sure that you either use the generic data collection instruments provided by KY Ready staff or develop the needed documents like surveys, sign-in sheets, and other forms before the event begins. Now, you might wonder, based on your work plan and member position description, whether you must engage in disaster preparedness activities at your service site. All KY Ready members engage in disaster services, so you will always have some data to report on direct service or capacity building during your term of service. In terms of preparedness education activities that relate to our performance measures, some KY Ready members engage in this as part of their service and some do not. If you don't, as I stated earlier, KY Ready staff will provide you with preparedness materials and help you and your site supervisor come up with a plan for a preparedness activity at least once per semester at your service site. The KY Ready Corps program uses OnCorps for timekeeping, but we also use it for reporting on data. You post timesheets twice per month, but you will only need to use OnCorps reports to record data once per month. Within OnCorps, you will have the opportunity to report on how many individuals you helped, as well as outputs and outcomes on our performance measures. All of that information is recorded in either direct service activities, capacity building activities, and then you have an opportunity to tell a great story every month. All KY Ready Corps members engage in either direct service or capacity building or a little of both activities. It is okay if your project includes more of one than the other. Determine what is your direct service, if any. Direct service consists of service that deals directly with the community and/or individuals within the site organization or partner organizations. An example of this could be working directly with clients in a variety of ways, like helping them obtain SNAP benefits or training individuals on how to use emergency weather radios. Determine if you engage in capacity building activities and identify what they are. Capacity building is indirect services that enable your service site to provide better and sustained direct services. An example of a capacity building activity is updating an emergency services resource guide for community organizations, creating or maintaining a community garden for an organization that donates the food grown to an area food bank or pantry. Data collection and reporting requires that you figure out a way to quantify, meaning count, your direct service and capacity building activities. In addition to developing a system to count individuals you help, you need to develop a system to document your capacity building activities. Typically, that means creating a name or a title for the activity, recording the date and duration of the activity, writing a short narrative about it, and including information about individuals or organizations served and documenting them in the capacity building form narrative. So, what if you have no data to report? This can happen. KY Ready Corps members are engaged in many different activities, and it's quite possible that a month will elapse during which you do not have any activities or events in which to collect data. However, if more than 2 months go by and you have not reported any data on OnCorps, KY Ready Corps staff will contact you and your site supervisor and schedule a meeting to discuss ways in which you can find the performance measure data that we require for our program. The following are screenshots from an OnCorps training video on reporting. It's actually a PDF, not a training video. You can access it within OnCorps under the Help menu under Tutorials. Your access to the OnCorps reporting forms is under Reporting in the menu bar. Then choose Submit Reports. Note that there are several reporting categories. You will only be using the Great Stories, Direct Service Activities, and Capacity Building reports. For Great Stories, type a name for your great story, enter a date for your story, and type your story in the text field. You do not have to enter a reporting period if you have a date listed. If you don't have a date, choose Quarter 1, which is September to December, Quarter 2, January to April, or Quarter 3, May to August. When finished, select Save. In terms of what to write in a great story, select something that has happened during your service in the month that had great impact or meaning to you, and write a short summary about it. Include numbers of individuals helped and other specific data if it is pertinent and you have access to that information. In direct service activities, enter a name, title, the date, and the duration, such as one time only or repeating weekly. Make sure you note the number of people served and a description of the activity. When finished, select Save to save the report. Within capacity building activities, enter the name of the activity, the date, and a thorough description of the activity. Include numbers and other data if available. When finished, click Save to save the report. The following slides are actual examples of KY Ready Corps members' reports on direct service, capacity building, and great stories. Note that there's a service name, a duration, a reporting period, and number of people served. The duration is really important, so make sure that you enter that. These are capacity building reports. Note that members are writing a narrative here, and in some cases there are actual numbers of various individuals and organizations that they helped, and also the reporting period. These are examples of great stories. Note that you can put in photo attachments, and as you all know, we are always looking for new photos of our members actively engaging in service activities. So in summary, begin identifying and tracking any services in which you directly help individuals or build the capacity of your site organization. Determine if the activities are direct service or capacity building. You can have and report on both. Especially target data gathered during activities that are helping individuals with disaster preparedness or educating them on disaster preparedness. Those are directly associated with our performance measures. Think about your service and what could become a great story to report each month. Be sure to report on your activities and data in OnCorps on the 5th of each month with information about the previous month. Please contact KY Ready Corps staff immediately if you are at all confused or unable to identify ways to collect or types of data to collect while you were serving on your site. Please do not put this off until you are halfway through your service term. We will be happy to set up a meeting to brainstorm ways to get those numbers so that we can use them to report on the progress and success of the KY Ready Corps program.